Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Center Grove Sports Show. We are live from Teddy's Burger Joint on Southport Road, just off 37. And tonight in the house, we've got a very special group with us, the Center Grove boys soccer team. Let's give it up, everybody. The Trojans this year. Fantastic season this year for Center Grove. One game away from the state championship. We'll get into that a little bit more later in the show. But first, we want to introduce the head coach of the Trojans, Todd Sheely. And Coach, first of all, thank you for taking time to join us here tonight at Teddy's Burger Joint. We've got a great crowd here tonight, and let's talk some soccer.
Well, Kevin, thank you. And being a single guy, I was either make a couple hot dogs or come out here and get a hamburger, so I appreciate the invite.
And this is a much, much better offer. Coach, like I mentioned, great season for Center Grove. 20-2 the overall record. MIC champs just for the second time in school history, Coach. I know that was maybe the most proudest moment for you and your team this year. But, Coach, just reflect back on what was just a spectacular season for the Trojans.
As you kind of put it in perspective, and I know after that Saturday night loss to Rebuff, it's difficult to look back with fondness. But I think if you look at 20-2, first time we've ever had a 20-win season in school history. 7-0 in the mix, so first time a complete 7-0 undefeated mix season. Only the second time we've beaten Carmel and North Central in the same year. We scored 80-some goals. We only gave up 8 or 9. So you start to look at all the records that were broken. Only the second time in school history to make the Final Four. I would consider it a pretty special season.
Coach, also, you were ranked in the top 5 majority of the season. You finished up number 3 in Class 2A. I know that's just a great recognition for your program.
It was, and we got as high as number 2, and number 2 was another record that was broken. It was the highest a Center Grove boys soccer team had ever been ranked. I can't say enough about the boys and their commitment. And we turned in our uniforms yesterday, and I had the boys answer a few questions, and some things that they all talked about was our focus throughout the season was there on the goals we wanted to take care of. And it's hard to say, we're not going to look past anybody and take it one game at a time, but I honestly believe that they tackled some small goals, throughout the season. We didn't reach our top goal, but I don't think that takes away from anything.
Coach, going back to the MIC, it seems like it has to go through Carmel. They've obviously been very dominant. This year you go to Carmel and beat them 1-0. Just take us through this ball game.
It's hard to kind of put into perspective for people that don't understand soccer, but most everything, whether it's boys or girls, does go through Carmel. North Central is not too far behind, especially on the boys' side. But to be in a game like that and for us to come out with a 1-0 victory and just to see the boys celebrate, because I think they kind of knew, even though we had a few games left in conference, that if we could get over that hurdle, that would set us up for that championship.
Coach, like I mentioned, 20-2 on the season. You scored a lot of points, but talk about your defense. You guys just did not give up many points at all this year.
Yeah, if you take a look at things, if you take away penalty kicks, we really only gave up 6 goals on the season, in 1,700 minutes of soccer played. So that's pretty good. I think our overall team goals against average is 0.4 something. So we're not even giving up half a goal a game. They did a great job, and that starts from the offensive side. If we lost the ball, we tried to win it back as quick as we could. But the boys in the back, whether they started or came in off the bench, we had 2 talented goalkeepers, Logan and Noah, that did a great job as well when they were called upon. And that's the thing, is it's unfortunate for goalkeepers at times because, our team was so dominant in certain games and they may not be called upon. But then that one game they're called upon and they got to, they're expected to make that big save, and quite often they did.
And, Coach, this year's team, very, very deep. I mean, you had talent coming off the bench. You have talent on the field. That's a great situation for a head coach. I know sometimes the hard part is trying to find minutes for everybody, but very deep team this year.
Yeah, I mean, we played a lot of kids, and it is a difficult situation. I think as a staff we try to do our best, and, we had a lot of guys come off the bench and score a bunch of goals for us. I think that's the one thing. We lose quite a bit. I think we lose 54 of our 92 goals, graduate somewhere around there. So that'll be something we'll have to focus on before next season. But I think trying to get the boys to understand that if they all played together, they would all get some. They would all be rewarded at the end of the day with championships. And awards and their own goals and assists. And we had a couple slip-ups in games where we tried to be too selfish, and we had to put things back in perspective for them and remind them that if the team did well, that they would all do well at the end of the day.
Coach, you're a former player at Center Grove, and I try to tell a lot of young men and women that play sports, don't ever overlook or underappreciate any kind of championship, whether it's a conference, sectional, regional. I know you guys have won a few sectionals and regionals now. Appreciate them all, because those are hard fought. You earn them. They're not easy to come by.
Absolutely, and I think, 10, 15, 20 years from now, if they come back or, it's talked about, I think they could all say, yeah, I was a part of that. I was a part of history. I mean, you look at the amount of things that had never been done in school history that they are now a part of, and will always be linked to that, this 2014 team.
Coach, let's talk about the state tournament, sectional, regional champs. Let's go through the sectional first and just take us through some of the top games there and some performances.
Yeah, since they switched to class soccer, it's only a 2-game sectional, so we played Whiteland first, and we beat them 6-0. It was one of those where we were up, I think, 2 or 3-0 the first half, and got a couple goals in the second half. And we want to make sure that we don't run the score up on anybody, because eventually these boys will be gone, and I still might be here, and I don't want to be on the wrong side of a 9-0, 10-0, 11-0 game either.
And then in the championship, was it Franklin in the sectional?
Yeah, it was Franklin Community, and it was 1-0 at half, us. And Franklin brought a really big crowd and played us well. They did what they needed to do to stay in the game, and we had a quick chat at halftime, and then Coach McLaughlin had another chat with them after I had left the locker room, and things came out and they moved in a better direction. I think it was 4-0 with about 32 minutes to go. Then
you move on to the regional round, regional champs. Take us through the regional.
Yeah, we played New Palestine in the first game. We beat them, I think it was 5-1 earlier in the season. And so you got to caution the boys on, assuming that it's going to go that direction. Fortunately for us, it did go that direction. We scored 2 goals in the first 10 minutes, and then ended up winning 7-1.
And then was it Warren Central?
Yeah, it was Warren Central.
In the regional?
Yeah, in the regional championship it was Warren. We turned around and won that game 6-0 after we'd beaten them in the regular season 3-0. So again, one of those, if you want to call it a trap game, but one of those games that it's easy to look past. And the boys came out, and it's kind of similar to what they did last year in the regional championship. It was just a very dominant performance by our boys.
And then, Coach, you go down to Evansville. That's a very, very difficult semi-state every single year. The day game, Bloomington South, a team I don't think you played during the regular season.
We did not play Bloomington South. We played Bloomington North early in the season, so we didn't know tons about Bloomington South. We'd gotten a couple of scouting reports from teams that had played them throughout the season, and a couple that had played them in the tournament. So we felt like we were prepared. I don't think we played our best soccer that day. But as you referred to earlier, being a champion and doing the things we did, sometimes it's not going to be pretty, and it's about finding a way to move forward, and we did that.
Exactly. Tournament time, you survive and move on, and you beat Bloomington South 1-0. Sets up the showdown of the night game against Brebeuf, and this one, very interesting outcome, 4-3, and again, a lot of PKs in this one and so forth. So tell us what happened in this game against Brebeuf.
You used the word interesting, and that makes me kind of laugh a little bit. So I'm just going to chuckle for a minute, and then I'll answer your question politically correct. It was an exciting game. I mean, it was a very intense game, and it was, us 1-0. Unfortunately, they come back and they get us, and they tie it 1-1. Then we go up 2-1, and then some decisions were made, and they end up going up 3-2 on 2 penalty kicks. I think both were within 90 seconds. And then we tied it. And then they got a goal with about 4 minutes to go off a corner kick, and unfortunately weren't able to get one. And I think we had a couple chances here and there, and it's very difficult, if you look at the game, to have so many calls that impacted the game. It's not to say that the official cost us the game necessarily, but I think when you make calls that give teams chances, such as penalty kicks or free kicks, that impacts the game.
Coach, tonight we invited a lot of your players to be with us tonight, and we've got 3 of your seniors with us here tonight. Got a gentleman here to my right, to your left. Let's introduce the seniors.
With us tonight, we've got Cybran Vermillion. We'll give Cybran a shout out. And then we've got Corey Baker. And Tony Robinson, who's going to go third because he's finishing his cheeseburger.
Yeah, we'll let Tony have some more time here to finish the Teddy's burger here. But Cybran, you're first up. Senior season, congratulations. Great career, great senior season. Just reflect back on your time here at Center Grove.
Well, it's been an honor playing for this team. We had an amazing season, and we didn't end very well, like how we wanted it to end, but we achieved a lot and got a sectional championship, and we won the MIC. So it was a great honor this year.
I would say second time in school history to win that MIC championship. Like Coach said, first time going undefeated all the way through. That had to be very special.
Yeah, at first we didn't believe that we were 7-0. We won the MIC championship. It took us a few weeks to realize that we are a legit team, and we had a chance to win state.
I mean, you were right there on the doorstep. I mean, you're one game away, a couple of plays away, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was a heartbreaking moment when we saw those PKs and that corner kick. It was just devastating.
Talk about your teammates, your fellow seniors. I know that this was a special run, but also difficult to put it all behind you, but you're going to have a lot of fond memories.
Yes, we all grew up playing soccer together, and we were all raised on the same team, and we went our separate ways, but then as our senior year came back, we were like a family, and we gave it our all.
Some parting words maybe that you like to leave with the juniors. We got some juniors here tonight, but they've got a great opportunity, I think, in front of them next year.
Yes, we have a lot of juniors next year, and they scored a lot of goals this year, and they have a solid team. They just need to find a way to work together, be a family like we were this year, and maybe they can pull off what we didn't.
Future plans?
Planning to go to IUPUI, maybe play some soccer there, I'll maybe see what happens.
All right, sounds great. Parents, let's give it up, everybody. Sebring, thank you very much. We'll hand the microphone over to Corey Baker, and parents, let's welcome Corey to the show. Corey, senior season, it's all said and done, but what a special season.
Yeah, it has been. I've enjoyed playing over the past 4 years here. It's just been a great experience.
What are you going to remember most about Center Grove soccer?
The fans are great. I will always remember our fans. They've always been there to support us to every game.
Fans from the students to the parents to
just everyone.
Tell me about your senior season. Just tell us about how it went for you.
It was a good season, great season, and it fell short of our ultimate goal, and it was devastating, heartbreaking loss. But it was just an incredible season.
Still, to go 20-2, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. At first, we didn't know how good we'd be, and then we started playing some games, keep going, and we just kept going. We were like, hey, we can win. We can do it all.
When did you feel like you were a special team, when things kind of came together? Was there a moment, a game, a practice?
Probably after we beat Carmel, we realized that we had a solid chance of just going all the way.
Tell me about that Carmel game. I know it was 1-0. It had to be hard fought.
It was back and forth all night. Took until the second half to put that goal in. And it was just a great team effort. Defense didn't let anything in. Goalie did great. And it was ultimate team effort. We won.
Corey, what position did you play?
I played forward.
Okay. And talk about your fellow seniors. I know senior season, it's always special to play with your teammates. You've been together a long time.
Well, throughout the whole season, we were really supportive to each other. And, we were always there, missed a shot that we might have made, always there for us. Just telling us, yeah, you can hit that next time. You'll get it next time. It's okay.
Talk about your tournament run against sectional regional champs all the way to the Semi-State.
It was a pretty great run. I was I can't put it into words, but it was just an amazing time. It's tough, Bloomington South played a great game, and our defense held them to 0, and we just got that one goal.
I'll say the strength of this team might have been the defense. You guys just didn't give up much this year.
Not at all. Like, I applaud our defense. They did such a great job of just not letting any goals in at all.
Take us through that final game. I know it was frustrating from a lot of different angles, from players, from the coach, from the fan standpoint, but just your perspective on that final game.
It was a hard fought game. It was back and forth all night. We got a goal, they got a goal, we got a goal, they got a couple goals, we got a goal, they got a goal. It was just back and forth. Like, you had no idea how the game was actually going to end.
Corey, what's your future plans now that graduating this spring? Future plans for you?
I plan to go to college at Anderson, play some soccer there, then see how it goes from after that.
Have you decided on a major yet?
Not really.
Undecided.
Undecided, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Parents, let's give it up. Corey Baker, another nice senior. Thank you, Corey. Well done, Corey. Next up, another senior, Tony Robinson. Parents, let's welcome Tony to the show. Tony, most important, how was the cheeseburger?
It was really good.
All right. Do we give you plenty of time to get it down?
Yeah.
All right. Tony, tell me about your season this year. Again, you've heard your fellow teammates talk about it. Great run this year. Mick, champs. Let's start right there. How special was that for you?
It was absolutely incredible. I couldn't have asked for a better senior season. The team just really came together. I played with the juniors and the seniors like my whole life. I've known them my whole soccer career, and to see all of us just come together in that final season, it was awesome.
I know when Corey talked about the moment was when you beat Carmel. It seemed like that's when you guys knew, hey, we can do this.
Yeah, that was definitely a huge point in our season. That was when we really knew we were a team that could really do some great things. And also, when we beat North Central 5-0, that was a huge turnout for us too, and I think that really put us into the mindset that we were great.
Also talk about, because Corey mentioned your fan support's been great.
Yes, they are there every single game. Even in Evansville, 3 hours away, we still had students coming to support us, and it was just awesome because, no matter how bad their fans got, our fans were behind us too. So we were never at a disadvantage there.
Tony, talk about that tournament run, sectional champs, regional champs. Talk about the early rounds in the tournament.
Yeah, well, not to sound cocky, but we pretty much knew that we were gonna make it past sectionals and regionals, but we couldn't look past any game. And so we just put all of our effort into just game by game and just focused on that one game until we got to where we got.
And then you played that Bloomington South team, and like I said, they put up a nice fight, but you got them 1-0.
Yes, we did. That was definitely one of the harder games of the season, if not the hardest, other than Brebeuf. And, just everything went right in that game. We just worked our butts off, and we just did as best we could, and we turned out on top.
So you get to that Final Four game at night against Brebeuf. I know it was a tough outcome for you, but just your takeaway from that final game.
Sometimes just the luck doesn't go our way, and we did our best, and there's no shame in what we had done. We had already had a great season, and Brebeuf was a really good team too, and they did their best, and sometimes they were just the better team that night. There were some bad calls from the officials in my opinion, but it was still our fault because we didn't come out on top to where that didn't matter. So,
Tony, like I mentioned before, several underclassmen here tonight from the soccer team. Some words for them. I know they're going to return a lot of talent next year.
Yeah, I would just tell them to stick with each other and to play their game because I believe that they know how to win the state tournament and that they definitely have the ability and the work ethic and the companionship. They definitely have it. They have it all. So,
Tony, as you finish up at Center Grove High School, do you feel like you left soccer in a better position now that you've gone through?
Yes, I think I have.
How about your future plans, Tony?
I'm going to Miami University in Oxford, Ohio to major in social entrepreneurship.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Are you
Thank
going to try to play soccer?
No, they don't have a men's soccer team.
Maybe some club soccer?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Parents, let's give it up for Tony Robinson, everyone. Nice job, Tony. We'll hand the mic back over to Coach Shealy, and maybe, Coach, some comments about these three young men as they finish up their senior year here at Center Grove High School.
Well, I can start with Cybert and Corey. Cybert and Corey scored a lot of goals this year. Corey was our leading scorer. I think Cybert finished third on the team in goals this season. So both of those guys, and they came off the bench. They didn't start, and they were first and third in goals, and that's a testament to them to make sure that when they got in the game, they knew they only had so many minutes, and they got things done. I know Cybern had, the game winner against Bloomington South. We come to find out that Corey plays the Brebeuf game with a chip bone in his foot, but I think that shows just the competitiveness of both of those young men. I think they did a good job, even though they weren't necessarily a captain, if you will, but they did a nice job in leading some of the younger kids, and that's something I'm proud of them about, because it is a program, and it is about always building for the future in that next game, and I think they helped us do that. And with Tony, I think Tony's leadership stands out. From day one, I knew Tony could be a great leader for us and a captain, both in his work ethic on the field, but also just his off-the-field coach. You need something. Can we get something going? Younger kids, hey, guys, let's make sure we're doing this. So he did a great job from that standpoint.
I would say, Coach, leadership is so important. When you've got great leadership at the top from your seniors, it seems like it just makes your job that much easier.
I would say you're very correct on that. In terms of this season, the seniors made it much easier for myself and the coaching staff just to get things done. We didn't have to worry about too many things not happening the way we wanted them to happen. If we had to take care of something, we knew the boys could get it done themselves.
Coach, talk about the Center Grove Soccer. Obviously, you're a former player. You've been a part of the Center Grove Soccer program a long time. Just give us an update where the program stands. Obviously, you're competing for state championships now. Yeah,
and I think that, again, this is my 12th year coaching at the 10 with the girls and now 2 with the boys, and I think both programs are headed in special directions. It's not to say they weren't there before, but I think on the boys' side, we're trying to get out there and work with our youth kids. We're trying to build a feeder system through the churches and the local clubs and so forth, just to make sure we know who those kids are and they know us and what we're trying to get. At the same time, we started Alumni Night this year. Obviously I'm an alum, but just to get some of the guys back. And we had 3 guys, I think it was from the first team from 1986, that brought their jerseys out. And for them to be able to come out and see, we're playing in a stadium now in front of, 500 or 600 people instead of playing on a practice football field when soccer used to be in the spring and there might be 50 or 60 people there. So I think it's special the direction we're moving. Our attendance is great. Like the boys said, we had some of the football boys and other athletes drove down to Evansville to watch us play both games. They found something to do in between games. And that's great. That's special. I think Coach Bishop and myself want to make sure that the boys and girls teams are both doing well. We want to support each other on and off the field, which I think makes things easier for both of us, just in being able to work together.
And, Coach, I've talked to other Center Grove coaches. They say it's so difficult, like you mentioned, to collect the jerseys, the uniforms, and you got to say goodbye to your seniors. But you do have to move on. You got to start preparing now for next year, and some things you need to work on for preparing for next year, things you need to do here in the off season.
And for me, I can't let this one go just yet, so I got a little bit more time myself to enjoy it. I'm not going to say I'm going to mourn about it anymore. I took a week and did that. But now it's just to smile and reflect and just be proud of everything that was accomplished. But, as far as next season goes, I do have some boys. If you're listening, you need to get your uniforms to me immediately, please. Thank you. Especially some of you sitting here if you want to graduate. Anyway, as far as next year goes, I think if we look back at this season and use it as a stepping stone, I think good things can happen. We've got quite a few holes to fill, but I think we've played 27 kids this year in games, so hopefully some of those holes can be filled, and by the end of the season, hopefully we're where we were this year.
I know from a coaching standpoint, you like to see guys competing for spots. You're pushing each other, just going to make you that much better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want kids to push each other. I mean, we have 2 leading scorers that come off the bench that push the kids ahead of them. We have some sophomores and juniors that wanted to get minutes, so they would push the seniors ahead of them. And I think that's what you want, and that helps you achieve the greatness that we were able to achieve this season.
And Coach, just the sport of soccer, the popularity, it just continues to grow and grow. And I think even here at the local level, now that we got a professional team here, I think that's just going to help the sport of soccer.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think if we could just get the semi-state out of Evansville and maybe be in Bloomington or someplace closer where 3 of the 4 teams don't have to stay in a hotel. Sorry, I knew if I had time I'd get that in there at some point. But in all honesty, I think with Indy 11 being here, we've got great college teams that are local. I mean, obviously IU on the men's side has always been very successful, and the boys like to follow them. But, I know a bunch of them went to Indy 11 games this year, and I think it's only going to grow. I mean, you have to remember 10, 12 years ago, there was half as many soccer teams. I think there was like 150 boys soccer teams. Now there's 352 or 357.
And Coach, you mentioned, like on the girls' side, girls had to play Carmel down in Evansville, and here, drive all that way. Just doesn't quite make sense. Yeah,
on the girls' side, it was Carmel versus Center Grove in Evansville. And then it was East Central, which is out by Cincinnati, so that's a bit of a trek for them, versus Castle. So it is what it is, and that's not an excuse. It just, I think it's something that needs to be reevaluated.
Coach, maybe just as we wrap up the show, maybe talk about the parents that have been so involved with these young men throughout their careers, the sacrifices that they make, and things of that nature, and also maybe talk about your coaching staff, the guys that have helped you as well.
As far as the parents go, I mean, they've been great. I mean, I think it was the Warren Central game, and we looked up, and I think they had 4 or 5 fans, and we had 100 already, and I think we were 30 minutes from kickoff. Our fans are very, very supportive. Our parents were very supportive of all the boys, and it's neat to see, I think, for the parents to see that the kids that, have been friends for so long achieve, such success, and I think they were proud of everybody. And if we needed water, they got us water. If we needed fruit, they provided those things, and that helps us be able just to coach. From parent communication, it was all very positive and supportive of the team, and that's huge. I mean, that makes everything just flow a little bit smoother.
And how about your coaching staff that helped you this year?
Adam Trotter, my assistant, has been great. He's got a fairly newborn child and his second, so I know it was a bit tough for him. But he was there, gave us what he could, and did a great job making sure the boys were prepared for the games so I could watch the rest of the JV games, just to make sure I'm giving them some support. And then Jameson does a great job with the JV team. I think last year they were 15-0, and this year I think 13-1-1 or 13-1-2. So he's only lost a couple games in 2 years. And Brian Warner does the developmental team, and Brian does a good job of making sure those boys are ready to take the next steps. I mean, unfortunately for Brian and Jameson, their job is to develop players for myself and Adam, and I think they do a great job from that. But I also think they help give some of those boys some skills that they can use in those next days after soccer finishes up.
And Coach, you kind of alluded to this, the girls program, they had a great season. They had a great season last year. But I think there's that good camaraderie between your program and their program.
Absolutely. I mean, selfishly, having been the girls' coach and the seniors that graduated, I actually coached them in clubs since they were about 11, quite a few of them. So my heart was still there with them a little bit. I will say the boys made this year very special for me, and I can't thank them enough for that. And, my sons were able to go down to Evansville on the bus for semi-state 2 years in a row now, and that's something that they'll never forget. Is 4 and 6 last year and 5 and 7 this year. All the different things, all the boys they got to sit with, or they got to play with the kids at practice in the summer times and stuff, and so that's very special for me. And hopefully the soccer boys and the younger boys can kind of see what a family's about, and I think the seniors helped us to embrace that this year.
Coach, any final thoughts or words before we wrap up the show?
No, it's just one of those special years that I think you cherish because you're not sure. I mean, who knows if you don't get to coach tomorrow, you don't get to play tomorrow. If I don't get to coach another day, I mean, I can't say that I didn't end on a high note.
All right. Coach, again, congratulations. 20-2 this season. MIC champs at 7-0. Finished up number 3 in Class 2A this year. Sectional regional champs. Final 4 appearance. 1 game away from the state championship. Great season. Seniors, well done this year. Best luck to you guys in the future. And, Coach, good luck next year.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having us. And seniors, good luck to you.
All right. Parents, thank you very much for being with us tonight. Great show. We want to thank Teddy's Burger Joint for hosting our show tonight. Gentlemen, great job. Best of luck to you guys, all right? Center Grove Boys Soccer, everybody. Give it up one more time.